Alright, so Paper Mario is a beloved series for some pretty obvious reasons, but probably most notably, it's just super charming to look at. Yes, it has some charming characters and the stories are really fun, but I really think it comes down to its visual appeal. But, it's been a really long time since it's been at its best. Sure, Origami King is actually a pretty good game compared to, like Sticker Star or something, but luckily we have the Thousand Year Door remake coming out here pretty soon, and that's the one that everyone holds as the gold standard. Regardless though, indies have really stepped up and really given Paper Mario fans a ton of options to play something that might evoke some of the same feelings. So in this video, I'm going to be going over a bunch of different games that I think that if you're a big Paper Mario fan, you should check these out. Alright, enough preamble, let's hop right into the first one here with the honestly newest release, Baladins. It's a choose-your-own-adventure sort of Mario Party-ish optional multiplayer RPG game. It's really something special, and I really think if you're into playing story choice games with your friends, this is one that you really gotta check out. Alright, then there's Rainbow Billy, The Curse of the Leviathan. It's a very simple, adorable looking RPG that's family friendly, and its goal is to teach basic stuff like empathy and self-acceptance. And there's also just a lot of meat here to this game. There's tons of different creatures, different islands. It's a really cool RPG that I think you should check out, especially if you have a younger one in your life. Moving on to Once Upon a Jester. This one's not really an RPG at all, but it's like another choose-your-own-adventure sort of story. This one revolving around a plot to steal the royal diamond. In this one, you play as a jester and his buddy who are improvising a show that will eventually lead up to them being able to get this royal diamond. Another one that's just really charming, and I think you should check out if you are into kind of devising some diabolical plan through silliness. This one's not really much of a Paper Mario game, but I still think the charm's here, and that if you like Paper Mario, you might want to give this one a look, and that is Frogsong. And it's much more of a Zelda-like, but it still has that really awesome hand-drawn looking art style, and it's just incredibly adorable, so check this one out. This one here is probably the darkest one in the video, but it definitely has that Paper Mario combat system, and a little bit of the presentation here with the hand-drawn, papery aesthetic, and that suits Absolute Power. And in this one, you play as a CEO who's fighting against shareholders. It's a whole thing, but it definitely has a cool popsicle puppet kind of aesthetic, and I know that the aesthetic really is what a lot of people are looking for. So, there's that one. The next one here is honestly kind of controversial to, I feel like, even mention, but that is the Outbound Ghost. This one is everything you're looking for if you're a Paper Mario fan, but the controversy is that the developer has a very bad relationship with the publisher, apparently over some disputes about royalties, going so far that the developer even struck copyright strikes against the game on Steam. It's a really, really bad mess, so I don't know if I suggest buying this game because you might not be supporting the people you really would want to be, but the game itself is a really cute adventure RPG in the style of Paper Mario, and it's kind of what you would want to play, so maybe don't buy it, but find another way to play it, maybe. I'm not completely sure, so I just feel like I had to bring this one up. The next one is Born of Bread, a similar game to the Outbound Ghost, but this one doesn't seem to have any of that terrible baggage with it, so this one's definitely a safer choice to check out. Born of Bread is a 2.5D adventure, just like, what you would want. You play as a loaf of bread boy, and it's just pretty much what you would want out of a Paper Mario clone. Then we got Deathbulge, which is another RPG turn-based, this one revolving around a band, and it has this cool rock and roll aesthetic to it and attitude. It has a lot of original music. This one is something for maybe if you're a little bit more of a metalhead who is also a Paper Mario fan, so that one's a really cool option. The next one really just has the 2D art aesthetic, as a few of these games in this list, but Demon Turf is a 2D art 3D platformer, and it really is beloved amongst a lot of the 3D platformer community. So Demon Turf is always there to check out if you want a free-moving action speed-based game that also happens to have the look of Paper Mario. The next one up here is Underhero. It's a 2D side-scrolling RPG, and it also takes a lot of inspiration from the game in the title of this video. This one's been around for quite a while, and it has a really cool look to it, and I love a lot of the character designs. It kind of gives me like a bit of like a Skull Kid RPG. I really think this one's cool, so check that one out. The next one here is a recent favorite of my wife. She has stolen my Steam Deck from me and has not given it back because she's been playing Echoes of the Plum Grove. It's a cozy farm sim game, just like, you know, Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing, but it also has consequences to it that seem pretty harsh for one of these kind of games where your characters can die, but it also has this really awesome looking 2D art aesthetic that's kind of mixed with like the little people, you know, those little dolls, kind of has that kind of look to it. But, you know, you're doing all the typical stuff that you're doing in a village simulation farm sim type of game, but you also can die and leave a legacy of, you know, ancestors, and there's a whole deep legacy element to the game. So I think this one's a really cool one. If you want to play something that has a really cute on its face presentation, but a little bit darker undercurrent, just under the surface. Next up are the Steven Universe Saves the Light game and Unleash the Light. These are very obviously inspired by Paper Mario. They're Steven Universe RPG games. They're actually written by Rebecca Sugar and have the same voice actors from the show, and it's a pretty neat idea for Steven Universe fans. So there's that one there. Next one is another actual 3D platformer game, but this one mixes in a lot of Pikmin, and that is Tinykin. In this one, you play as Milo, who is a very tiny guy who goes around these giant environments who are, you know, they're just big human environments like a bathroom or a bedroom or stuff like that. But you end up finding these little helper minion type guys called Tinykin that can do different tasks for you. And I'd say that the thing here that's really impressive is just the amount of detail. There's just such an amazing amount of detail in this game. This one is an absolute must-play if you are into 3D platformers and you want a really cool looking and playing, and it's just a really great game all around. Alright, and then the last game here for games that are out, and it's probably the most notable one, and that is Bug Fables. Bug Fables is the progenitor to the indie Paper Mario explosion, and it's beloved for a reason. So make sure you check out Bug Fables, as long as you're not afraid of, you know, bugs. Alright, now we're on to the stuff that is in early access. I got a few games here that are in early access that I just want to go over, and then I'm going to get into the stuff that's not out at all yet. So, first off is Dungeonman. It is actually a roguelike card battle game, but I really like the look of it, and I'm sure that it looks very familiar to a lot of the other games in this video, just visually. But I love games like Slay the Spire, so Dungeonman Early Access, you can check that one out. It actually has one review on Steam, so I don't know how much support it's gonna get in the future, but hopefully I can kind of boost some eyes onto Dungeonman. Then there's BadDool, which is another deck building game. It has a similar kind of vibe as the last one, but it has a really cool look to it again, as I'm saying with all of these games. So, but it promises to have a lot of lore in it and stuff, so there's another option there. Next one up here is actually from the developer of the Outbound Ghost, the game with all that controversy, and that is Stalker. It's a roguelike adventure game that is a survivor game. It's like Vampire Survivors, if you know what I mean. These games are super easy to slip into and kind of get addicted to, but this one just happens to have this really awesome look to it, so there is that. The next one here is the first that's unreleased, and it's going to be coming out in the future, and it's also a game that is developed by Underhero, a game that I mentioned previously, and that is Wander Stars. It's super obviously inspired by Dragon Ball in Toriyama's art style, but it's a really cool looking RPG, and look at it. This one's really impressive, so make sure you wishlist that one. The next one is wearing its influences on its sleeve and in its name. and that's Paper Animal RPG. I don't think you can get really more on the nose than that one, but it's what it says it is, but it also has more of a unique look than the title might make you think. This one's actually sprite art, so it's not the 2D hand-drawn look, and it's also roguelike, and they seem to be citing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon as its influences, so if you're into those Pokemon roguelike games, check out Paper Animal RPG. Then there's Ruffy in the Riverside. This one is appropriately named because I think the art in this game looks kind of rough, but the thing that is really interesting about it is just the mechanics. This game has a really awesome looking central mechanic, which is to swap and transform the world around you, kind of like snapshot style, and I really think that this could be a really cool 3D platformer. So yeah, that's another one to add to your wish list. Here's one that just barely made it into this video. I'm not sure how much it qualifies as a game that's Super Paper Mario adjacent, but it's Scrabdackle. On Steam, it pitches itself as a Metroidvania, but you know, it has this kind of top-down look to it, and I really think this one looks charming, and I love a good, unique, varied video game, so I think Scrabdackle looks really cool. Then there's Grimfield Mystery, which is another one that I'm not sure how much it is Paper Mario-ish, but it has this cool hand-drawn art look to it, so it kind of made its way in here that way. But I love the way this game looks. It sort of has this Paranorman-looking kind of vibe to it, and I really think this one looks like it could be cool. Hermit and Pig is an RPG that was, I think, announced last year during the Summer Games E3 season stuff, and it really caught my attention a lot. It looks really interesting to me, and the pairing of an old man protagonist with a pig is, I don't know, I'm sold. So I think this one looks pretty cool. And then the final game in this video is Escape from Ever After, another game that is very obviously inspired by Paper Mario, down to its art style, down to its combat system, down to pretty much everything about it. But it's obviously inspired by, you know, like storybooks and Grimm's fairy tales. So that one looks really high quality, so make sure you check that one out too. Alright, and that was my video on games that I think fans of Paper Mario should check out. You know, I hope you like this video. My voice is still really coarse, even since the last one, but I hope you liked it. If you liked the video, make sure you subscribe, do all the stuff that you typically are asked to do at the end of a YouTube video. That'd be super cool. I really appreciate it, and thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching.